Welcome to the Needle Felted Pig tutorial. This is part 1. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. So starting off, we have a few different types of wool. We have core wool on the left, and we have pink wool for the color of the pig on the right, a little bit of black and white. So like every 3D needle felted project, we're going to start with the core wool. And you can use your template if you bought the kit to have the correct sizing for your kit. So I have some core wool here. We're going to wrap it up really tight. This is one of the hardest skills, is to get it wrapped really tightly. And sometimes, depending on your body and your hands, that you can't get it that as tight as you'd like it, but get it as tight as you can. And if you can't roll it as tight, then you'll just have to do a little bit more felting. So as you can see, while I'm rolling this core wool up, I'm pressing down on my mat and I'm turning in the ends as I go just a little bit. And this helps make it more dense and tight. We want one end to kind of come to more of a point. And you can let it be a little bit looser than the rest of the core shape. And use your template here for sizing. I just have my drawn one here to start out with. And then you can start felting. So you want to use your coarse felting needles. I generally use a 36 triangle for this felting. And you want to felt all over the object until it's very dense. So when you squish it, the max you want it to give is about 25%, but less is better. The harder you get the wool, the better your overall project will look. So the pointed end is going to be the head. So if you don't have quite enough wool to make that head shape come up, you can tug on one end of your cylinder a little bit and pull it into the spot you want it. And then you'll just have to add more wool later. So now we're going to work on making the legs. So we're going to work on the rear legs first. So I just roll up a really tight cylinder first with a little bit of wool. And then you want to felt and roll that little cylinder as you felt all over the shape. And you can felt in from the bottom of the leg to make it nice and flat. And then to make the upper part of the leg a little bit wider, you're just going to wrap some more wool around the top of the leg, just a little bit at a time. The upper part of the leg, kind of like the femur bone, is called the stifle. And that's what gives it the nice round shape, is that part of the leg. And then we're going to go ahead and make a second one. Once you have the second one complete, make sure it's the same size, and then we can lay it right on the side of our pig near the back and just felt it on right over the thicker part of the leg. I'm going to do this on both sides. Make sure they're felted securely enough so when you tug on them, they don't come off. And here I'm giving a little bit of angle to the leg and making the hock. You can kind of bend it a little bit and felt it into place. And then after we get the legs all attached, you can start beefing up kind of the butt area and that whole leg by wrapping some more wool around the legs and the body. So you kind of wrap it in between the legs and around the whole back and around, and add some kind of right on the butt, and that'll give it more of the shape you want. If you have a multi-needle felting tool, you can use that as well. It's very helpful in making your object more dense and smooth. And I'm wrapping a little bit more wool around the belly part to add a little bit more to blend in to the legs. Just make sure at this point that your body shape is very dense and felted up tight. And now we're going to work on the front legs. So these are easy. They're just tight little cylinders for the legs. So you pretty much repeat the first part of the back leg. Make sure it's the right length. And fill in from the bottom to make the bottom of the leg flat. And roll your cylinder and felt from all sides. And then let's make another one. Make sure they're the same size, and then we'll felt these on. So you want these to be, this is going to be right at the shoulder. So it's kind of right before where that neck and head start and go up. You want a good distance between the front and back legs. Pigs are supposed to be more long. There is probably a good 2 inches in between the front and back legs on my pig. And then we're going to do the same thing on the front legs as we did with the back. Wrapping that wool around and in between the legs to blend all that together. And then we're going to beef up the shoulders a little bit. So they kind of have pronounced shoulders. So these, you want to come up through the leg and come out from the body a little bit and then blend into the back and the shoulder. So we're just adding kind of a little bit where that elbow is. So right where it connects, the leg connects with the body. And now we'll work on making the snout a little bit more pronounced. So we're going to start adding some wool to the front of the face. It's kind of takes some time to make the shape. So I'm adding a little bit at a time. I just added kind of a little circle, and then I'm going to wrap some more wool around. So as you add a little bit of wool in the front, then you got to wrap it around to hold it tight and I'm making a small little cylinder here to add to the nose and the snout here as well. I'm giving it a little pre-felt and then holding it on and felting where the little cylinder connects to the face. And then we're wrapping more wool around that joint to blend it in and make the nice head shape. You want to felt that whole spot and make sure you get it nice and dense, because you just added a lot of new wool to it. And I'm adding a little bit of wool to like the bottom of the head where the jaw is. Some of the pigs have a nice kind of big jowl-ish neck area. It hangs down a little bit more. And I want it to go and blend down into the belly. And after I added some of the wool to the head, I had to adjust parts of the legs too. And if you're adding more wool to the underside of the head there, you're going to need to wrap more wool around the whole head to blend it in and make sure the fibers are all going in the same direction. Always want to wrap the same way. Adding a little bit more to the middle and just fine tuning my pig. After I get done fine tuning this little bit left here on the pig, then we'll go to part 2 where we start adding color. You can find part 2 in the tutorials playlist. Thanks for watching. Happy felting.